All right. Hello, I'm Weather from Summer School Discord, and I'm here to follow the Morgana in a kind of return review. So I'm going to be skipping a lot of my normal rants. I have already yelled at this guy enough, but I'm going to be looking into smaller mechanical things this game. I will still go over win conditions because I think that that's something that's important in every comp, and it always kind of changes slightly. Um, and if I rehearse it enough with someone, then I feel like they'll be able to start developing their own ideas of what their play style should be. Um, so your team has a Cho'Gath, a who's a really beefy front line, but only later on, early game, he kind of has a mixed bag. He has got a good amount of sustain, but requires early attention because his weakest phase is like before his first recall and first item. The next is Warwick, who's got really strong engage at 6 and a very healthy clear. He's got a good amount of pressure whenever someone gets low and can easily clean up some kills with counter ganks and stuff. Morgana is an interesting laner. She's actually really strong right now, mid, underplayed, but very strong. Uh, so she has very good and safe wave clear, and she's got a very reasonable amount of pick late game. Her ult also is a very game-changing team fight ability, but you have to make sure you have Zhonya's to be able to position properly for it, and Zhonya's at the correct time. Xayah's got a very good amount of push and duel, and Nami has a lot of forced engages with her slow effect, so she can put that on the Xayah and allow the Xayah to get her roots. She's also got her ult, which is, the knock-up and stuff. So basically what this means is your team has a ton of forced fight, a ton of it. You're going to be able to make sure that between the Nami and the Warwick, you're going to be able to engage something. The problem then comes with being able to make sure you secure the kill. So you're going to have to make sure you position your engages correctly so you can get Warwick on the correct target. You're also going to need to make sure you're able to peel off the Vlad. Vlad is someone who does a shitload of damage but has no CC and has to basically get locked down twice. The first time he pulls out, and the second time he doesn't. Once you get Zhonya's, you got to do it 3 times. It's a great, great time. So their team, the Fiora early game is going to be probably causing a lot of problems to the Cho'Gath, but once the Cho'Gath gets his silence up there and stuff, he's probably going to have a pretty reasonable time into this matchup once he gets his first item, as I mentioned. But he's not going to be looking to just straight up split push against the Fiora, while the Fiora is going to want to straight up split push. She's probably not going to be looking for these team fights. Brand Jungle is an interesting choice, but he's got a very surprising amount of burst. Ever since the brand buffs, if he comes to your lane and lands his stun, you are 100% fucked. Especially with the percent health damage, he's going to even be able to kill a Cho'Gath late game, and that's going to be Cho'Gath's biggest weak point between the Cho'Gath and the Fiora, and both of those can easily get into his lane. Vladimir can dive your backline. Luckily, your backline is pretty healthy, so it's going to be hard for him to just go back and one-shot someone. The Xayah can typically root him. You can root him. You can Zhonya's. You build a lot of health on Morgana too, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem, but you're definitely going to have to focus on peeling him. The Misfortunes, very strong in lane with her poke, and then she's got a very game-changing ultimate. It's all about her positioning, though. And Alistar is going to be early game forcing fights, late game just kind of zoning out your AD carry, most likely. So what this means is your team is going to want to probably be forcing a group by diving/playing into the Fiora first. If you play into the Fiora and kill the Fiora, you then open up the entire map to have whatever you want happen. It's a lot harder to catch out of Vladimir and the bot lane as well. It's very hard to catch them out. But the Fiora has a one-time dash escape because she needs her Q to hit something in order for it to reset. And if you time your CC correctly, like even if you started with your R, you're going to be able to land stuff on her because she has to time her stuff very carefully. She can only block one thing. And once you do that and start putting the Fiora behind, the Cho'Gath is going to be able to play into this matchup very well. So I would be putting a lot of my focus on tracking the brand and killing and putting down the Fiora. Your bottom lane is going to have a pretty even matchup, I imagine. Alistar is really good into Nami, but both the AD carries are good duelists. So if you ganked bottom, that's also a good option. But your mid lane matchup, you're probably never going to see a win come out of just this mid lane matchup. Even if you get a gank onto him, it's going to be really difficult to really capitalize on it. So you're going to truly get all of your advantages this game from roaming, and I'll be prioritizing top. Because, as I said, Cho'Gath needs the help early. What are you doing, man? Defend. Defend. This is not good. I tell this in like all of my reviews. You gotta listen to me, man. Defend. That's free CS you just missed. And it's also free damage you just took. Essentially, at this point, you've already lost the lane. Because you've already used one of your potions. And Vladimir has complete wave control. Brand's already invaded. See? Remember how I said watch for this shit? You didn't watch for this shit, and he's already invaded and taken your shit. So now your jungler is behind, so your jungler's not going to be able to easily gank for you. You've already pretty much lost this lane. And all this happened with the way you manage this level 1 wave. You think that with Morgana, right, you just can walk up to the wave and pool, right? That's the way it seems like you're playing this. Well, apparently you can't, right? Apparently. And that's obvious. Because you just ignore the Vladimir. Do you see what you do this whole time? Right here. Right? You know what he was going to do, and you accept that damage. But then, okay, look again. Look where you're standing without any abilities. It's definitely worth it to sacrifice 1 CS to not take that much damage. Because now, what if that jungler had been someone who could force some sort of engage, right? Because he almost could have. If he had played that gank a little bit better, waited for the wave to pass, he probably would have gotten that. And look, see? You walk off this time, and you're denying yourself this CS, right? Simple. It's okay to sacrifice some CS if it means that you don't get fucking chunked. But you're also not paying attention at all to cooldowns because after he goes in and he Qs that, you're still playing safe. He has already used his most powerful ability, and you're level 2, which means you can use abilities on him as well. Not just this, his Q isn't up again, and it's not empowered. He doesn't have the damage to really trade onto you yet. You are zoning yourself out. You need to look up cooldowns. You need to read fucking abilities of champions that you're not familiar with because this situation just proves you're not familiar with Vladimir. Because all of his damage comes from that empowered Q, and he does not have his empowered Q. His base Q, you could probably heal up. His empowered Q is something that does a significant amount of damage. And because you're managing this wave like this, if the Brand had chosen to go down here, you wouldn't have been able to collapse correctly onto this. Good patience. No need to queue that. Missed free CS again. You need to practice CSing with her pool. You've missed probably like, I don't know, 5 CS that have been just in your pool and you couldn't auto attack them correctly. Again, no reason to do that either. Whenever you do that, you can't trade and you can't peel. and you walk up again into his empowered Q. If you're going to do that, then put up your spell shield first, right? You're already wasting a lot of your mana queuing minions. You back off of that way too soon. Not only do you back off of that way too soon, but you could have kept walking. You throw out your skill shot really early. Do you see what kind of happens here? If you had autoed that 2 more times, you would have won. You would have killed him. And I don't know why you chose to back off of that. And what happened to your pool? Where was your pool? It was there? Okay. Yeah. You had fucking Ignite too? Alright, you just really don't play a lot of Morgana, and you don't play into Vladimir a lot, because he shouldn't have been able to get away there. This is redundant ward placement. Since you decided to pink over here, there was no reason for you to basic ward this. If you were going to pink this, then you wouldn't need the ward over here at all, right? You would just be boarding the other side of your lane. However, you know that the enemy jungler was just seen down here, right? So obviously that means he's going to be next spotted up here, right? He's going to be basing after these, and he's going to be going top. So those wards aren't going to spot him out. Actually, I guess they didn't spot him out, but he was bottom. Okay, I'll hand that to you. What? Okay, then. Nami putting in some work. She knows the limits of those champions. You're getting a lot of help this game. I don't even know if you realized it at this point, but your support has roamed into your lane twice, and your jungler has ganked you once. Um, Ganked for you once. You're getting a lot of help. It's 8 minutes in, and you've already had someone come to your lane 3 times. That's a lot. That is a lot. And you haven't gotten something from any of that. Whenever that happens, that means that you're misplaying something. And the first time, right, whenever the brand died over here, well, let's go back and let's look at that real quick. Or not brand died, but Warwick died. So around here. Why do you think this happened, right? Well, it's a couple of reasons, but you know the main reason it happens? Dude, you got 2 trinkets, just like I thought. You don't know how to ward, man. You don't know how to ward. And you don't know how to predict where the enemy is going to be. Because if the Warwick was ganking over here, and you had a ward over this wall, he probably still would have gone for it. But you're not putting any useful tracking wards. Unless that was this yours? Might have been yours. If it was yours, alright, I'll take some of that back. But only some of that, because you still have 2 trinkets and you should not have 2 trinkets. If that was Nami's ward, then that just proves even more that she's saving your ass. Personally, I would have been pinging him off until I was 6 for that gank. I wouldn't have been looking for it at 5, because you need level 6 in order to kill the Vladimir. You're just going to pull your Q like that every time. Yeah, you played that way too safe, and that cost you your Warwick probably. Yep. You got to land those easy skill shots too, man. You were really close to him. So what should you have done here, right? Well, if you were watching this, you're practically full health. You could have spell shielded yourself and walked into him. If you had spell shielded yourself and walked into him, you wouldn't have been stunned, and you would have been able to ult him right away. If you ulted him right away, you then would have been able to secure that the Warwick could come in safely. Not only would he have been forced to blow his shit on you, but he would have been stunned. If you look, you don't ult until much later. You wait until the Warwick goes in, and you hold your ult. He doesn't even get stunned. He dies before then. And true, it's a little weird that the Warwick looks back in, but he thought he was going to die to the pop probably. And whenever you're chasing him with auto attacks like that, because you were auto attacking him like that, you allowed that space to grow and made it harder for you to get that last hit. Stopwatch, am I right? It was a good play under the tower, though. You aren't tracking your lane very well. You didn't ping Mia. He was already bottom. Very obvious roam bottom, too. That was a good roam by you. Spell shield yourself. You don't need to stay here. Your mid wave is going to crash. You don't need to clear that right now. See, you don't need to clear that because it wasn't going to catch anything out. Whenever you went bottom, you killed 2 people. You killed Brand and you killed Misfortune. Clearing the pink ward and putting your own ward here is assuming you're going to secure this route, right? Which means you want to make sure that you don't get ganked from it, or you want to make sure you can gank from it. Well, you're not securing this route right now because it's already fucking secured because they're both fucking dead. You already know where the other 3 people are, so this instant, that is not a priority. So what you're doing is you're denying yourself the ability to show up for this wave. That was a bit greedy. You don't have vision on them. You also have wasted your resource down bottom, right? Remember I said you don't need to ward this? Well, what if you had your ward over here? You would have seen the fucking Brandon. You would have backed off. You wouldn't have died, right? This is a wasted resource because no one was going to use it anytime soon. If you kill their pink ward there, the Alistar fucking recalls and buys a new one. None of this is you, so this doesn't matter. And you know, okay, so Alistar does show up to this. Interesting. Slap this turret. Yep, that's what you want to do. Slap that turret. Looking over for this is very good. Your jungler will need the help. Good. because there was a good chance someone else could have been there too, like this. Very well played with the spell shield. You don't need to stay here. There's nothing left to get. Go back mid. Vladimir's... That was greedy. Leave him. Good dodge. But you see, you lost your chance to siege mid any further because that stupid overstay. Stealing wolves doesn't matter. You knew everyone was up there. He's already dead. Stick for the Vlad. Good. I saw you backstep for that. You need to know where your team is positioned. The brand was already cleaned up. You're tanking. You're still tanking. You're still tanking. You're not watching that at all. You could have at least autoed the turret so you killed it before it killed you. Now, I notice you're constantly just walking back mid. Right now, this is a very good idea to be mid, but that means that you're also going to be looking to rotate bottom after this. Because you have a good wave that's stacking bottom, and you need to be getting control over here. You already have people in the mid wave that are going to shove this out really quickly, so you don't need to be mid, which means the best thing for you to do would be to start showing bottom and be ready to use this wave to siege the turret. That's what you want to be doing, and you're not thinking about rotations at all. Right now, you're thinking about sieging. Whenever you siege into someone like this, you are coin flipping. Where's the advantage here? Where's the advantage? I see 4 people who are full health, have all of their abilities, are level 9, and have a reasonable amount of gold. And you know what else? I do not see their 5th member anywhere on the map. This very easily could turn into 5 people in any minute now, any second now. What if Fiora teleported? She just looks like she used her teleport, but she could have been using it to go behind you guys. Then this advantage is in their favor. They're winning this fight now. Right? Meanwhile, if you had been looking to push this advantage bottom, put these minions towards the turret, you could at least start playing into another wave as well. I know you are currently getting something with Herald here, but if that's the case, you need to be making sure you're playing further back. You don't want to be anywhere near where this Alistar could engage onto you. These two are too far up. You're in an okay spot, but you're also at a point where your running paths are not good. You either want to be able to run this way 100% or run into the woods, but you would be isolated in the woods, so you don't really want to do that. You don't even auto-attack turrets. You're not looking for any skill shots either. You miss easy routes. And you sacrifice a turret for that play. You only get 1 turret. You don't get this. You let them catch that huge wave. You got Rift anyways. You didn't auto the turret, so it's not like you were even needed there. Rip. You like shoving mid. Right now, you have no rotations in your playbook at all. I've noticed you just go mid, just push waves in. You're not thinking about showing for the Fiora. You're not thinking about showing for the bot turret. You're only pushing mid. You don't even auto turrets. You died literally over here because you weren't autoing it. You were over here looking for skill shots, which you missed. You need to either be part of the siege or be looking to set up something somewhere else. And personally, I think that you need someone setting up something somewhere else all the time. You could have used the blast cone. You don't want to look for this. You got Cho'Gath pushing bot. That is your play that is happening right now. All you need to do is not die. It's fine to give up blue buff. You don't even need that shit. You see two people bottom, including their jungler. If you hadn't wasted any health or abilities here, this means 100% you do Baron right now. Right now you do Baron because two people are bottom, and you just made it so the Alistar had to base. Do Baron. Instead, you shove mid. Now they're going to rotate mid, or they're going to get bot turret, or they're both. Look. Turret for a turret at this point. Remember that Herald that you guys got earlier? It went to waste. You need to better recognize opportunities to do Baron. Turret for Baron means you would have been able to get a lot more. Wait, what'd you get mid? Xayah got this mid? This is a very great play by Xayah. Very much worth her death. But now the enemy team could probably do Baron if they wanted to. Yep. I'd be looking into it. This is the first time this game, by the way. This is like the first time you have actually been in another wave to hit a minion. You did roam, I think, twice. You had a really good roam, but I threw two in there just to be generous. I do remember one. This is the first time you've actually tried to push another wave. This is your first rotation. I have no idea what that was. Like, even if the Fiora was here, right? Even if you did do something about this, what would you have to gain? Always be thinking about what opportunities there are, right? You use your flash for this, so you don't have it for a very large amount of time, right? But you could just push this wave now. But you could just go for this inhib now. This fight is too late for you to show up for. It's too late. You're not going to be here in time. But you could make it so that they lost something. Yeah, it was too late. And you're not thinking about objectives at all. What if you were here? You would have gotten this. You keep changing your summoner spells out from TP to Ghost. And you get aced. Yikes. Largely that has to do with a couple of positioning mistakes, but also remember how I said you had to peel the Vladimir off? You're playing like an assassin first, and then you're playing like an assassin second. And now you realize that there's another person here, And now you have no peel for yourself. And now here comes Vladimir at full health to clean everything up. You don't know how to play these team fights because you don't have a clear win condition. Your win condition, you're playing like an assassin. You could have done that all without your ult, probably. And then you could have used your ult for the second part of the fight if you still wanted to play like an assassin, or if you wanted to peel for yourself. You all lost your Barons. And you lost a turret for it. That's pretty much the gold difference right there, right? That's Baron. And take a second with me here and look at the mini-map, right? Do you see how dark it is? You should. You should really recognize that this whole map is completely dark, right? Okay. And now there are 3 people up here, and there are 3 people alive, and one of them's going to be alive soon. So if you come to this inhibitor, they have a very good chance of peeling you guys off, and then you don't know what they're going to do. You also have a wave over here, it's pretty large, that you could siege, and if you walked down this way, you could have also set up vision. I think that you might be able to get this inhibitor, but the odds of it are like 20%. You can get this 80%. But it was only Cho'Gath that went, so of course not. You still have no vision in their jungle. Might be just because they swept it. Did they just sweep it? Yeah, they just swept it. You haven't bought a pink ward in a long time. You only bought 1 this game, I believe. Again, just shoving mid. See how your team's rotating? You need to start thinking about this sort of thing too. And the vision that you need to do it, you need to get together so this doesn't happen. And answer me this again. Where was the advantage there? Do you realize your positioning and what you were trying to set up for, right? Your positioning here, at the very start of this, you know you're outmanned. They have 4 people. And Xayah shouldn't be splitting into a Fiora to begin with. So this whole map setup is terrible. It's terrible. Because the Fiora, if she goes on the Xayah, which she has a very easy way of doing that, by the way, between her parry and her Q, she has a very easy way of getting on the Xayah. And you guys also have your own problems with this, right? Alistar can flash pulverize someone, not necessarily right this second, but that's always a threat. And you see how easily the Vladimir engages on you guys. And what are you going to get here is the biggest thing, right? Well, you're not getting bot tower because Xayah is in a bad spot and shouldn't be doing this anyways, not alone. You're not going to be getting mid inhib because they outnumber you. You're literally only getting CS. got to put a little more focus on your side waves. I know that the Cho'Gath pinged that, but you're just as capable of doing something with it. This is a good call, though, to go for the inhibitor right now. You just want to run away right after. Running for bot wave is okay. You need to get your vision while you do it. Nami's putting in a lot of work for you guys. This is good. This is the second time you've been in a side wave. Alright, and then you went off that. Okay, biggest problems are definitely your level 1 with this champion specifically. You don't know how to trade into like Vlad and when to just deny yourself a CS. You go for that early CS and you take a lot of damage for it. You also do not watch level 1, no matter how many times I have ranted about that, you still are not doing it, and you cost your jungler red buff, which put him a significant amount behind, also made it very difficult to track where the brand was going to clear, which made you get ganked that first time, which put you further behind in lane. You miss a lot of CS with your pool, which means mechanically you need to practice that some more if you want to play this champion. You also don't know how to go in small fights and whether or not you should be positioning aggressively or waiting for someone else to go in, because you killed your Warwick by the way you played this fight. Um, you also played the Baron fight pretty poorly. Whenever you were playing like an assassin instead of looking to peel, you used your ult for one person. Um, Morgana is a supportive mid. She's not an assassin mid. She's a support mid. You need to be looking for only her Q and her W as your main forms of damage, and her ult is a team fight tool or a peeling tool. It is not an assassin tool. Um, your teleports have been okay. You use it to get back to objectives, which is important, but really you should be working more with your recall timers for that. Um, Teleport, the best part of it is to set up for rotations, I think. You are ignoring your side waves completely, and you do not rotate at all with your team. Um, your vision control is still pretty bad. You only bought one pink ward this game, and your trinkets, I I remember pointing out that early laning phase time frame where you had two. And even though you have your blue one now, I do not know when you have been putting them down because I do not see any blue trinkets on the map. I imagine you are only using those in fights because you currently do not have any vision there, which overall speaks to your vision problem, right? Your Baron call was too slow this game. You could have gotten a Baron much sooner. Your positioning was aggressive when it did not need to be. You had three people here and one bottom in a terrible split scenario, and you were overextended. You also go mid every time, looking to just siege when you have no clear advantage at the moment. They had five people that could have gone on you. Fjord decided instead to teleport top, but she could have teleported behind you, which would have killed you guys and secured them Baron. It was an unnecessary risk. Um, yeah, that's pretty much all the big things. All right. I hope it was helpful.